Happy New Year's! And the first of an installment of hopefully something done every week that I'm currently calling Wheel Wednesdays, where I spin a wheel, as you can see here, and then take a prompt from the person who suggested the thing. And the way I set it up was the first wheel is names, so if you have multiple prompts, I can spin the wheel to get a name, and then spin a wheel as shown here to get a prompt that you gave. And I also had it set up so there was 3 for one person, but that was because they were from Patreon. So I'm going to give Patreon more slots on the wheel, I guess. Because, yeah, no. So the prompt was Shmelvin's Guard. Now that probably means nothing to most people, and well, that's because it really means nothing to most people. But I know the person that did the prompt, so I know that Shmelvin, it's a running gag. It was a running gag character in our D&D campaign that wasn't actually real, to my knowledge, but the party just would say Shmelvin was the strongest. So that's where the name Shmelvin is from. And then for guard, I just interpreted it as like a knight that maybe is with Shmelvin or defending Shmelvin for whatever reason. So I used this as an excuse to do armor. Yep. I really need to practice armor. There was so many times during this that I was like, I could do better. This does not look good. There's a lot of improvement that could be done. I also tried to do it ever so slightly different than the last time I did armor for a Yule Night. Like, not too insanely different, but I did. I just merged it early, basically, compared to before, and I also used new brushes that previously I did not use. I guess while it's going, I should explain more on the Wheel Wednesday thing. So on a community post, I think like 2 days ago, I laid out the rules. There's only 2. One being nothing super NSFW that would like get me banned off YouTube or any site, other than like the mild gore and the kind of sort of partial nudity I do sometimes. So basically, if it is the stuff I currently do, that's fine. If it is something extreme, not happening. And then the second rule was just, I don't want to be doing any established IPs of stuff. I'd rather have it be more creative or more open to interpretation rather than make this character doing this thing. I'd rather have it be like, I can come up more so with the character design, especially because I plan on trying to twist prompts if I feel like it. Sometimes, we'll see. Again, first time doing it for the new year. So, hopefully it evolves into something more. I also went ahead, the 3 people give prompts, 2 from DeviantArt, 1 from Patreon. People-wise, not prompts, there was 4 prompts. So I'm looking forward to bumping that number up. And it is kind of my fault, I know that, because the community post originally did not have what you should say to like give a prompt. Oops, my bad. I put a pinned comment in it now that explains, just put like prompt : and then your prompt. So, I guess I'll talk more about the design now, and I'm looking forward to any more prompts people want to give, so I can hopefully continue doing this. And I'm not going to be resetting like prompts, I'll just keep a big list. So eventually, who knows? And then maybe one day I can like stream if the list is so big, and then like do littler sketches for some of them. We'll see when we get there. It's still the first of the year. I can calm down a little. Anyway, actually now back onto the design. Because it's Shmelvin's Guard, I added an S motif. Yep, real intense commentary on that. I also, since the idea of him being Shmelvin is the strongest warrior or hero or whatever, I thought it would be funny to give the character a massive sword. And I did mess up a little bit. Well, I guess it's not a real mess up as much as it is a thing I don't like. But the hand holding the sword, it's a little low. I wish I moved that up. The end product has like the pinky behind the sword instead of actually grabbing it, which I think looks weird. That's a me thing though. That's something to think about next time I have someone holding a sword like this, I guess. I also made the armor, well, tried to make the armor really shiny. As you can see by all those different colors in it, with the red for the cloth, the cape and the other parts. Then there's like a teal from a light that you can't see. And then obviously the light from the assumedly sun. So there's like 3 different colors I put into the metal. Now I'm working on this giant sword, and I wanted to make it look really fancy, like way fancier than anything would be ever required to be. Just because I had such a big sword, it's like I want it to have something to it and not just be a big slab of metal. So I added a whole bunch of golden inlays, and near the end I add about 10 times more. And now here's where I, well, started to mess with a different brush, like a more textured pencil-y brush, which I otherwise wouldn't really do for metal, because I've always been trying to make it super smooth and shiny. But then I thought, well, it's probably not going to be smooth and shiny. I can't imagine that this person's cleaning it 24/7, not doing anything outside or exerting themselves in any way. Any fight, any amount of dirt getting on it, it's probably going to be there for a while at least. Any scrapes, that's going to be there for possibly years. So I decided to add in like more texture than I normally would. Also, at some point during this, I experiment with a new brush that I don't think I've ever used, which is like it makes paint splotches, I guess. It's the best way I can describe it, or like small paint strokes if you were using an actual paintbrush. And I just use that to add texture. So here I'm just, again, doing little detailing, just trying to break up the smoothness of large chunks of metal. Just like in this sword, where I didn't want it to be one giant chunk of metal, I don't want anything on this to be giant chunks of metal, so anytime I saw some flat area of nothing, I tried to add engraving details to it. Was I trying to get like super specific with the engravings? Not really. I kind of just did little scribbles that were... They gave the hint of an engraving, or of something detailed. Like, yes, I tried to use larger overall patterns, like how on the sword there's like the little S's and a cross X pattern. But like, all the stuff in between that is much more random, and it is absolutely not perfect. Other than the part where I use the mirror tool, like, that stuff, I guess, is perfect, literally. But like, what I'm doing now, it's like, yes, the mirror tool makes that perfect, but if you look at it closely, it is not at all close. It's very messed up in there, if you zoom in. But from far away, it looks good, and that's all that really matters. Because I'm making art for looking at the whole canvas, not a 3-pixel block of it. Pretty sure after this I start doing more engravings on the armor itself. After adding some lighting, I guess, from that goldy color of the sword. Yeah, this is that paint blotch brush I was talking about. I thought it actually looked pretty good. At least for like a texture-wise thing. Like, not if I was actually making something out of it. Much more difficult. But just as a texture thing, I like it. I also used that brush in a old trick I saw, I don't even know how long ago, but you can use like a neutral gray color and an overlay layer to just add texture. So like using that brush to just do a paint texture and then put it on an overlay layer as gray works great. that's really all. Thank you for listening. I hope to do more of these in the future. Bye. Bye bye. Have a good day. Have a good rest of your year too. Start it off good.